obviously I was not the happiest trying to make sure I was going to finish, and I remember getting off the track super devastated. Just had a bad race at Camp Coker.
I remember you changed, got out of your boots and everything, talked to James a little bit, and next thing you know, we're like, I'm ready. Out of here.
Yeah, I was not in the mood to really talk to anybody. I was just, because it was my fault. It's a different feeling when it's a bike's fault. It's the bike's fault. When it's your fault, it's like it hurts.
It is.
So yeah, I was ready to go home. Went home, and man, dude, I was upset. So went
and
home
also being the old gray, the first race,
wanted to win it.
Yeah,
I was happy for
the Landers. Beautiful property. And
so I remember I went home and I was upset. So I went home and I worked out. I remember
Brandon went to work.
I went to work. I was pretty upset with myself. Just came off 2 bad finishes. One not really being my fault. Second one definitely being 100% my fault. So went to work, and obviously it showed.
All right. So the next race we go to is called the Hoosier.
Yep.
And that's a place called Crawfordsville, Indiana. And Brandon's in love with that place. Brandon's in love with that place. I was going to try to figure out how many races in a row you've won there, but I think it's 4 or 5. I think
the only time I haven't won there is I broke.
Yeah.
I mean, I've won there every time I think I finished.
You've been a tie rod or an axle or something one year.
Yep.
Anyway, but Brandon really likes, because the terrain suits you.
It suits me. I love fast. I love the flowing of the woods. That track's a little too fast. I mean, in some areas, but I just like
you guys are going like 78 through the woods here.
There's some sketchy stuff we do, but I just love the place. The atmosphere is cool too. The whole 9 yards. I mean, I just love the place.
Yeah. 239 riders showed up that race. So Indiana always brings out a lot of riders. Okay. Yep. First overall, first in class. You led all the laps. 4 out of 4 you led, and but that is a place that's really good. Now, one very important thing that we had been lacking for the first 5 rounds, and it's been wearing us out.
Oh yeah.
James, we've all been working on it, is this damn start.
Yep.
And we were like,
just because we felt like a start.
We're like, Brandon, are you hitting the button right? Are you doing this? Yeah, it's starting. It's just not starting. We anyway, you get the whole shot this race. That was a freaking good feeling.
Yep. First one of the year.
Yeah, first one of the year. You took off, and I remember I was standing over about in the woods section where you guys go off in the woods, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, race is over. I'm good. You know what I mean? Because you'd won the whole shot. But you really liked that place. That was round. That was round. What was that? Round 6.
Yeah.
Indiana.
I remember. Yeah. I mean, that race was cut, sweet. I mean, couldn't do anything wrong. I remember I didn't make a mistake all day.
Quad was flawless. You stayed about a minute or so in front of Collier the entire race.
The new bike.
This was on the new
I think actually
4-wheeler.
Landon showed up to this race, if I remember correctly. Cody finished 3rd, if I remember right.
Did he?
Landon finished 2nd, Cody finished 3rd, and I remember I was a minute in front of Landon most of the race, and I was happy. I was happy with where I was at. No mistakes all day. Got the whole shot. Led corner to corner. I mean, there was nothing crazy about the race.
It was a race where you felt like in control from start to finish.
Yep.
And you don't get a lot of those races.
Nope.
Nothing went wrong. We had a hell of a pit stop.
Bike was 100% perfect.
And it just all worked.
And it's rare. So it's a good feeling to get off the racetrack and it's like you did everything right.
Yes.
Especially after what just happened.
Yeah, after the last 2 races. It was so we needed a win. So that helped us out a lot. It boosted us up a lot. And we knew the team was capable of doing it. We just had to get back on track. So then we go to Powerline Park, which is another racetrack that
I remember that one.
the series has not visited there in a long time.
We've been there before.
Now, Brandon, you raced there before. In fact, that's where you collected the #1 plate in the youth race.
Back in the day,
in 2014. Brandon had collected the #1 plate a couple races before the end of the season or whatever, because the points are figured a little different than they are with the
that was like one of the end rounds too.
Yeah,
it was a little bit different situation.
So but anyway, that's the last time we had raced there in 2014, or you. And I remember it snowed that day.
Yep,
it was raining like hell when we left, or when you was racing, and then the rain turned into snow.
Yep.
It was unbelievable. Light snow, but it was still white. Just call it snow. So Powerline Park. So let's see. Let me put my glasses on. So we fly into a little ass airport that we've never flown into before. I don't even know the name of it, but it was sketchier than all hell. But anyway, 237 riders. You win the race. You got first overall and win the class. This was another race where Friday, yeah, you led all the laps, all 4 for 4. You led every lap with Collier right behind your butt. Yep. And Collier had actually took the lead a couple times from you.
We went back and forth.
Yeah, y'all went back and forth.
There was some good racing. I remember
it was really good racing.
We showed up Friday and everybody was biking the track.
Weather was good.
Weather was great. It was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful.
Another one of those rounds.
And the track, everybody said it was like you couldn't bike it. I was like, couldn't bike it. It looks.
Well, they were saying they'd go 2 miles and hit peanut butter. Yeah. We're like, what?
I was
peanut
like,
butter.
I mean, I could see it being muddy, but I was like, it shouldn't be that hard to bike. And I always biked the tracks, and I made it about 2 miles, and I pulled off.
You didn't want to tear up the e-bike.
I was like, I'm about to wear myself out for one, and the bike was about to be destroyed. So it was really, really slick, really slick, and yeah. So I remember that I only biked 2 miles of that track. I was like, I'm just gonna wing the rest of it, figure it out.
And everybody was telling us, oh, the rain's coming, the rain's coming. So here we are. We're all right. So we left there. And in fact, it started raining before we left. Went to the Airbnb, woke up the next morning, same deal as Georgia.
Whole different.
How much rain did y'all get? Oh my God, we showed up there as a total different track. Yep. It's like we shouldn't even went Friday because it doesn't matter today. Yep. So here we are, we're in race prep mode again, and mud prep mode, and trying to figure out things and all that.
We knew what we did in Georgia, and it worked. So we were like, okay, let's try to replicate exactly what we did
and
there.
We did.
And that's what we did.
And we did. But I remember that race was colder than all hell.
Y'all
were racing.
Yeah, I remember.
But we were standing under the tent, a 10 by 10 tent for the pits. Yeah. And we were all like this. Looked like a damn bunch of penguins. Like this. And you guys were out racing. And the wind was blowing, and just a nasty race. You and Collier had a fierce battle.
Yeah,
it was a good race to watch.
There were so many memories I remember of that race. Just the amount of bottlenecks we hit. Like me and Collier looking at each other, like where are we going? Like where are we about to go? I mean, there was bottlenecks down hills, and we were like, how are we getting up this? And we literally had. I remember we had a couple conversations during the race, trying to figure out like what are we gonna do. It was a fun race, fun battling with them. I think he ended up losing his goggles, and I remember we ended up getting split that last lap on a bottleneck. He went one way, I went another. I had the better line. He took a line that had a few more lappers in it or something like that, and that gave me the split. And he ended up losing side of me, and ended up backing it down.
He ended up having to peel his goggles off. I remember at the end of the race, he had EMS over there digging mud out of his eyes, which a lot of people did. Yeah. And I'll tell you, that was one of those races where, you know,
getting off the race, winning it, felt good.
But I will tell you, for you bringing in, for some reason why we were blessed, we had the goggle down. And we had really no goggles issues.
I did pull them off that last lap, but I knew I was going to have to. I was not going to pit for another set of goggles for the last lap because I knew Cody was right behind me, so I was like, it's not worth it. I can figure out how to finish this race if I can hold the lead, so without goggles.
But we actually got blessed. All right, Brandon, we had to change a battery out of the GoPro. GoPro died. Damn. We might end up having to split this in 2 videos.
We will.
We like talking.
Yep.
Yeah. But we're excited, right? I don't even know where the hell we're at.
Yeah, I remember you were about to ask me something about
the whole shot. Did you got the whole shot in this one too,
I did.
Right?
Yeah, okay. So we got back-to-back whole shots.
So back-to-back whole shots after we had worked our butts off
to get whole
try to figure it out. And we still ain't figured it out. But we're back on the trying to learn again.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's wrap up Powerline Park. That was it. So
I remember getting off the racetrack. I was shivering cold.
Yeah, it was extremely cold. Yeah.
And I was ready to get the podium on. I was like, my teeth were like chattering.
Actually, I was looking for a cup of coffee for your mom. Yep. I was asking everybody in the pit area, you know, like around where you had finished the race at. I'm like, hey man, you got coffee in the motorhome?
It was so cold.
Yeah, it was so cold. All right, let's move along. So now we're up to race number 8. This is Mason-Dixon. You like this place too.
I really do like this place.
You've won some races at this place. There were 257 riders. Now this particular race, you finished first in class, but 3rd overall. Okay. Yep. Because we had a couple of those kids, I think.
I finished 3rd.
I think. Yeah, I think 3rd
maybe,
overall.
Yeah, I think a Sportsman AB guy. Because I was technically second on the podium.
That's right. Yeah, you won the pro class.
Yep.
But just by time adjustments and everything, I think the Cole Likens kid was the first race that he'd won. No, I'm sorry. I think didn't Likens win the one that you broke a fuse at? I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, listen. So that's where you're at. You led all 5 laps. This was a 5-lapper.
Yep.
Typically, when there's a 5-lap race, it throws us into fuel panic mode to where it makes us think a little different, and so we try to figure out, you know, different strategies and all on gas, and sometimes we'll pin on lap 4 and 3 or 2. It doesn't matter. Depends on where you're at, but
and track conditions were perfect. I remember they were a little bit dusty, and I love a little bit of dust.
Yes.
And on the other part of the track, it's a little bit tacky. I love perfect race conditions just because it's an all-out race. It has nothing to do with race conditions wise. It's more just your speed and how much you work.
And this place is sort of flat.
Yep. And I think it's
like
a good racetrack to race on sometimes. And there's a few areas where you can't pass, but there's a few areas where you definitely can. And I really enjoyed this place. And yeah, I led all 5 laps, and I think I got the whole shot here too.
I was gonna say,
got the whole shot.
One of my notes here, you got another $100 from BNR Motorsports. This is your 3rd whole shot.
Yeah, I think this was another race where I think almost everything went flawless. I think we had. I'm pretty sure I remember I had an issue at some point in time. I don't remember exactly.
Collier passed you one time. Y'all went. Can't remember what the hell happened.
Yeah, I had an issue one time.
You had an issue with the lapper or something. You took a wrong line, then you passed him right back a half mile down because he actually made a mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that race, we had a bunch of good battles. I remember
y'all were running together the entire
race. And right there at the end, I kind of poured it on a little bit and ended up getting a little bit of a lead that last lap. But yeah, that was a fun one. That was a good race to race at, and good conditions. So nobody had issues like me or Cody. We didn't have really mechanical issues, I don't believe. And so yeah,
that was actually a fun race. And then so that one, I think you won it the year before too. I think you won it the year before.
Yeah, I've always raced really good.
You've always
not that I've won every time.
You've had a couple. There was one time we went there and we had the 850 and we had some issues with it.
But I've always raced really good there for the most part.
Yeah. All right, then we go to your favorite race, snowshoe.
I hate this place.
I hate this damn place.
I love the crowd. I love the atmosphere.
You know what they are doing? Take a damn bulldozer and cut through the mountain and flatten the whole damn place.
I love like just the whole like feeling of going to snowshoe.
The race sucks.
And racing it is not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's more of like a, I don't know how to explain it.
Even as a spectator, the race isn't very fun to watch.
To put it in words, it's hard because you got to go there to know what we're talking about. But it's pretty rocky. Now I will say that this year that we ran it was one of the best years I think we've raced.
No, I agree.
It was one of the more fun ones. It was the best snowshoe we've raced.
The weather was
weather was
decent.
Good.
Yes.
Track, how they laid out the track, I was really impressed with. We did some older stuff that we haven't
done
in a while.
Hole?
We did Howard's Hole this year, which I thought was really neat. We didn't do the bad part of Howard's Hole, but we did do technically Howard's Hole, and the fans down there were crazy.
I was going to say you had tons of people down there.
I had beer thrown on me at, 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. Dude, the fans, everybody there at Snowshoe, it's a good time, and I had a really good race, I'm pretty sure. I remember I was running really well. Me and Cody were battling again, and
all right, so out of 4 laps, you led 2.
Yep.
All right, so I meant to say that. There was 244 riders that showed up to this race, and you led 2 of the 4 laps.
Yep.
And anyway, so had a good race going there, and you built up a 30-second lead.
Yep.
Coming into the last.
Coming off 3 wins.
Yeah, coming off 3 wins in a row.
Feeling really
3 whole shots in a row.
Yep.
It's like we're like right on top of things, and things were clicking. We weren't like miles ahead of the second place rider.
We felt really confident.
But we was confident in what we were doing, and we just need to keep on keeping on. And but anyway, going into the last lap, we had some issues early in the race with the bike overheating a little bit.
Yep.
So coming into the last lap, probably I had got a phone call from Terry. He had called me, I don't know, y'all was 3 miles in or something like that. No, I'm sorry, about a couple miles before the finish. And he said he had a 32-second lead.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, hell, we're good. Yeah, 32-second lead going into the last lap. Yeah, at Snowshoe with all the lappers and all that. Yeah, we're good. Next thing you know, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm like, where the hell? So finally you show up there and pull immediately into the pit area. And we
pull up
were
in limp mode.
Yeah, pull up in limp mode. The bike is like really erratic, and we're like, what the hell? Bike's overheating again, went in limp mode. And so anyway, when we stopped there, we blow it out
right before the finish.
Right before in the beginning of the last lap.
Yeah.
So we took a 28-second pit stop. Did not get passed.
Nope.
But Collier was at that point.
He got to my bumper.
He got to your bumper.
And got sight.
And he got sight of you. And so you led the third lap going into the fourth lap. Yep. And then all hell breaks loose after that. The quad, between the quad and lappers and...
Yeah, so I remember exactly what happened. I had the lead and took a wrong line with the lapper situation, got passed. Another one in a situation where when you get past in the last lap, it was like, dang, I mean, you kind of, when it's your fault, this situation, it's like you put you in a little bit of a panic mode. You want to get that lead back. But I also do know bike's running hot. So then I'm like, I got to finish. I don't need to win. But I would love to win, don't get me wrong. So ended up losing Cody a little bit, ended up getting past, losing Cody a little bit. And, man, dude, I was putting on a charge. I was really charging hard. I knew there was a couple lines I could try right there at the end of the race. And next thing you know, we're going down a ski slope and it went into limp mode again. And I was like 2 miles from, or about a mile from the finish. And I was like, all right, race is over. Well, not race is over. Not going to win the race.
Not going to win the race. Now we got to survive.
Second. So ended up stopping, turning the bike off, turning it back on, got it out of limp mode. Just kind of babysat it, went into limp mode again. We ran hot. There was no doubt we ran hot.
That thing was cooking.
And because that last couple miles, I was like, dude, I can win this thing. And I was putting on a charge. I got to his rear bumper again, and it went into limp mode. And
yeah.
So.
Nine seconds.
Making it to the finish, 9 seconds back. Finished second. Very disappointed because it was something that was like, if we wouldn't have lost that 30-second lead to the limp mode, I wouldn't have made my mistake with the lapper situation.
It's a learning race.
A lot of things could have happened a lot different. I remember getting off the racetrack. Second's not a bad day, but I was devastated just because I came off 3 wins. This is the last race before going into break. It would have been amazing to lock up 4 wins before the break, and but a second wasn't bad. So we knew that, but we knew we had work to do then.
Oh yeah.
So then it was like, okay, why is the bike running hot? Well, we can't be having issues and things like that. So I remember all break, that was like our brains were freaking on limp mode. What's going on? What are we figuring out? I remember we did all kinds of stuff, and we figured it all out. That's for sure.
Well, we gained on it.
I
mean, we didn't go into limp mode at all the last 4 races, but definitely still have some more stuff. But we made a big dent in it. But anyway, we go into summer break, and it seemed like we had a 17-point lead or a 19-point lead or something like that, which wasn't terrible. And so. Besides working on the radiator cooling situation with the ATVs,
we knew if we could finish every race, we could be there, and it'd be really close at the end of the year.
Yes.
So we were like, we got to make sure the bike's 100% every single race.
We just want to make sure we can finish all the races without going in the limp mode.
Yep.
Yeah. But other than that, we took off a bunch of riding. You didn't ride. You didn't ride for 2 months.
Didn't really ride. I was very devastated, very disappointed. It was more of a disappointment of like, I don't even want to touch a four-wheeler right now. Right. It's like more of like, instead of a disappointment where like I want to go out there and win, more of a disappointment where it was just like, I want to get away from four-wheelers right now, just because. What
did we end up doing? Going to the lake a lot.
Going jet skiing a lot, dude. We were hanging out.
We went to a damn.
Now don't get me wrong, I was still training. Yeah. We don't really ever stop
still training, but he wasn't riding.
But I wasn't on a four-wheeler, which, we came to understand.
But you needed a break, and we felt like that the time away, just to rest
sometimes helps more
your
than
brain.
Just pounding a four-wheeler.
But we had a great time. And in the summertime, golf cart business is slow, so we was going on Tuesdays out to the damn lake having a good time.
We had a great time, and we bought jet skis, and we had a good time.
CJ ended up buying one.
Yep.
And got to see manatees and freaking monkeys.
Yep. All kinds of stuff.
Out in the wilderness.
We took off. We had fun.
Yeah. We literally took off, but come August 1st, we started hitting it back again, and had a great time. So the first race back was round 10 at the Buck Week 100. Now this particular race, you've always ran really well at. You like this area too. This
really
is another fast place. The one area is a little tight, but for the most part,
I
this
really
thing flows
like
pretty
the
good.
woods part of it. It's really fast flowing in the woods. It's rocky. I like the rocks a little bit, and I really enjoy going to this track.
Yeah. So and it shows other people does too. 216 riders showed up. We had another race and we had another problem in this race. We had a mechanical in this race. You finished 28th overall, 3rd in class. But we were ready to go after the summer break, though. We had narrowed in and focused on the overheating issues. You got back after it, you know, of just getting things going, that kind of stuff. So you led 3 of the 4 laps. Yep, 3 of the 4 laps. Got second on the whole shot and took the lead pretty quick. That was pretty exciting to watch you do some corner swapping and all that stuff.
Yep.
And so you led the first 3 laps.
Yep.
Okay. Where our race changed of strategy and even how you raced was when Collier was about 20 seconds behind you.
The first lap.
First lap, and then second lap, he was about the same gap, I guess. And out in the field, you saw, or you had made a corner and looked back, and smoke
like
was everywhere.
Yeah, bike blew up almost. I was like, holy cow.
So, and I was up on the hill, which a lot of us was. We could see sort of the same thing at that point. We didn't realize it was going to be Brandon or Collier, but we knew one of those had issues.
And at this point, we're getting the championship points racing. I mean, there's no
we're
doubt.
points racing. We want to win, but we're like, let's win this championship. This is what we're after.
We're last 4 rounds?
4 races,
and so we know we gotta finish, and can't have issues. We can't have nothing go wrong. And so even like, say for instance, we finished second. As long as we beat the other guy that we're racing, we were happy.
That's right.
That was our goal. No matter where we were at, we tried to finish in front of the guy
we were
racing.
At this point racing one guy, and and we wanted to make
everybody
sure
else I think had issues already, so it was like it was me or Cody, and we were battling. So
at this point it was either going to be Brandon or Cody, more than likely,
unless we had crazy
unless
issues.
both of these guys had problems. But so anyway, that changed our entire race because Collier had problems. So you backed it down.
Yep.
Our strategy in the pit area was a little different.
Even Wharf had issues, so it was
and then Caden Wharf, which is the next rider in line. Somebody had said, or we had heard some scuttlebutt on the radio of GNCC, something about he's having issues too. So at this point, it's our race to lose.
It was.
Okay. At some point, you had almost a 6-minute lead.
Yep.
Okay, and just barely riding.
Yeah, I was feeling good.
Pit stop
the bike
took a
was
minute.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, the quad was riding awesome.
I was feeling really happy. I mean, I knew what was going on. It made me, obviously, it was a little bit more excitement. I knew what was all going to happen and all this kind of stuff, and it was my race to lose, and there was no doubt. And
but this is another race where we learn.
Yeah.
And we got caught with our pants down again. Well, not necessarily. We did get lucky.
Yeah.
We got very, 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 very lucky on this race.
It was last lap.
Brandon comes by. He's got a 6 minute lead.
Good. I mean,
and he's slinging his foot and everything else. We're just having a great time. You know, quads handled great, not ran hot, that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I don't know, Brandon's been gone 3 or 4 minutes. And I said, all right, I'm going to run back down and watch him come over the hill down there. And next thing you know, I reach in my pocket, my phone's ringing, and it was a West Virginia number.
Yeah.
And I looked at everybody in the pit area, and I said, this isn't good. Hello? And it was Brandon on the phone. Yeah. And some redneck out in the woods, several rednecks out there, young
a couple
kids.
West Virginia kids.
West Virginia redneck guys.
So what ended up happening was ended up going up a hill, right past like kind of where everybody is. I mean, it luckily where I broke out was in a good spot, but it was right past like the whole pit area, camp area. Went up this hill. There was a couple switchback corners, and man, dude, I swear when I know a lot of people won't believe me, but when I say I barely touched this tree, I did hit the tree technically, but I barely hit it with the outside part of the wheel, and wasn't even going fast. Ended up going straight, and the bike went right. Ended up breaking a tie rod in, and it was just like,
it was like what the hell? This guy's, when you call me, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon, it's our race to lose.
It was like a 6-minute lead. It was like, what is going on, man?
All right, now, fortunately,
yep.
So from that point, I said to you on the phone, with this other guy had his phone, and I said, Brandon, James just changed those tie rod ends. Head to the pit, because I was a long way from James.
Yep.
I said, head to the pit, or to the trailer. I'll meet you there. Me and James will meet you there.
And y'all knew where to go.
We had tools, but we didn't have the tie rod. So Brandon, anyway, all in a ball of wax. We was able to get the freaking tie rods.
I remember
down to you.
I felt like I ran like a marathon after I got back on my ATV. I remember braking.
And you still had 7 miles to finish.
And I'm not like super exhausted, but it's the end of the race.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just got done racing almost a 2-hour race, and I call you, and I'm like, they're not going to know where I'm at. So then I'm like, I head out to where the pit area was, and I'm running. I mean, I fell down a mountain. I was trying to get to y'all because I knew I wanted to get back going, just because it was like it was aggravating. I was aggravated. I needed to run it out anyway, probably, and I knew it was like, have a big enough lead. I mean, maybe there's a chance something good could come out of it.
Yeah. And at this point, some of the other riders had already had issues.
Yep. So I'm like, I can't finish that bad. I want to finish the race. I'm gonna finish the race no matter if we're 20 minutes back or whatever, because I knew we could have. Luckily, they had tie rod ends there, so I ended up finding James and finding you, and ran all the way back to the ATV. And man, dude, I was exhausted. I remember getting back to the ATV finally, and then letting y'all work, because I got on the bike or got on the ground, and I laid
Brandon
there.
were just laying down. Oh, one more thing I remember, Brandon. So Brandon's
nobody had water.
Hey, any of y'all got water? And of course, me and James didn't have water.
Yep.
We're trying to get.
You're trying to get parts. Yeah.
And so these West Virginia guys, no man, only thing we got is a beer. And I'm like, I told Brandon, I said, damn, you should drink that beer.
Dude, I was so dehydrated. I was so exhausted. I was running in pretty much full gear, and I was exhausted.
So no water. Brandon don't wear a camel pack, and for various reasons.
Obviously, we get it fixed, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm ready to get back on my ATV. I'm aggravated, obviously. Knew I wasn't going to win the race.
Yeah.
It was too late for that.
Yeah.
So I get back on my ATV, and I think I'm sitting fourth. So sitting fourth, and then ended up catching, I believe it was Austin Parks. He looks like he was having issues.
He's having some issues.
And it passed him, and I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know I was in fourth. Didn't know where I was started at. I didn't know I moved into third. So then, obviously, I'm exhausted. I'm like hanging on the bike. I felt like I raced a 3-hour race. It was tough to finish. I was barely hanging on. I knew I wasn't catching anybody else. I was just trying to stay on the floor. So I ended up coming through the finish line. I was about to head back to the camp. I was aggravated, obviously, because it should have been a race I should have won. And about to head back to the camp, and then I had people stop me because I got on the podium. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How did I finish third?
Yeah.
And I was like, what are the odds of that? So ended up finishing third that day, which was still a good day.
Good day for us. Hey, we got lucky that day, man.
I mean, luckily everybody else that luckily the guy
they had issues early on.
We were points racing, had issues, so the third wasn't a bad day.
So for us, there again, we're racing one guy.
Yep.
As long as we can finish in front of him, didn't matter where we finished at.
So we were happy but devastated all at the same time.
Yeah.
It was aggravating.
Our race went from like, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Should be a breeze, and then it's like,
it was aggravating just because it felt like it was my fault, obviously, but it felt like it was something that was like, why did that happen?
Yeah.
So we came to realize that we did not replace tie rod ends after snowshoe.
Yeah.
And
but right before the race, before snowshoe, we did.
We did.
So they only had 2 hours
fresh. But we think somehow snowshoe, the rocks, the beat, and the framing, it loosened obviously that, or probably broke that tie rod end. And as soon as I hit something, it broke it.
Yeah.
Which is good. It broke it at that situation, point in time, because luckily we didn't go to the next race and break it there. So,
the other thing, you could have been miles deep. You could have been miles deep in the woods too.
So it was lucky. We had a lucky day for sure, but felt like we could have won it.
Right.
I mean, we should have won it.
Right.
There's no doubt.
All right, so we're still the points leader. You led 3 of the 4 laps. Should have led the 4th one, but you didn't. You ended up 3rd. We collected the trophy and we come on home, right?
Yep.
And went back, and that quad got pretty much a makeover.
Yeah.
Because here again, we've got 3 rounds left.
3 rounds to go.
And they rebuilt this bike top to bottom. We just replaced it because it needed to. If it looked like it, no, out. Even if it didn't,
it was something. It was like a point in time where it was like make or break. We got to finish these last 3 rounds.
Yes.
Even though we got a good lead, we got a really good points lead. We were happy. Everybody was happy with where we're at. But it was also a situation of like the fact of we go out there and break the roles reverse.
Everything.
So it was like, all right, we're replacing parts like airplane parts. I mean, it was pretty nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Those last 3 rounds, I don't know. We probably spent more money those last 3 rounds than we did probably half of the season. So,
well, it was important to us because we had been laser focused the entire season. So that was round 10, and now we go to the Mountaineer round 11 at the Beckley, West Virginia, at the Beckley Boy Scout Camp.
And love this place.
Brandon really likes this place. Almost won it last season. Has always ran really good here. And really, this place is rocky and not sort of what you was mentioning earlier about flat and open.
Nope.
But you seem to like the woods here.
The woods here is like, or what's there?
Yes.
Is I don't know, man. It really flows good. Not a lot of passing. Now there is passing in some areas. Don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot. I mean, the main line is the fast line, so which is okay. But I mean, to start's really important, and there's another reason to start was really important.
So let me talk about this race. 180 riders. You ended up 2nd overall, 2nd in class. You led goose egg laps.
Yep.
One of the only races where you didn't lead any laps. Okay. Yep. You led 0 laps out of 4. Okay. Couple things going on. So Friday we show up there and everybody's excited. The place is beautiful.
Love it.
The campsite's beautiful. Bathroom, showers, and this is a really nice place. Okay. But one thing everybody was saying, complaining about,
how dusty it was going to be.
How the dust was really bad.
Obviously, I biked it, and I biked it by myself this race, and I looked at it. I was like, there's going to be definitely some dusty areas, and there's no doubt it's going to be pretty gnarly. I knew a start was going to be super important, and
I remember Brandon coming back to the camp on Friday after bicycling, and he says, we all said, well, what do you think about the track? Brandon says, whatever you can do to make that bike start faster, let's do it. What do you mean? Start's going to be important. We're like, well, I mean,
but I love the track.
Yeah,
I really love the track. I was so happy. I was excited to go racing again, or racing at that track. I love that place, and but yeah, I knew the start was going to be important.
All right, so here you go. So you get off on the start, and the freaking bike does not start worth a crap.
Nope. Yeah, really, I should have started probably 6.
Yeah, fortunately for you, a couple of the guys made a few mistakes.
Yep.
You was able to make some really good moves. You ended up 3rd going into the woods. When you lined up, y'all was in 3rd.
Yep.
And,
which isn't bad.
Which isn't bad.
The 2 guys in front of me are faster guys, or the faster guys in the class, and I was happy with where I was at. But then we went into
quarter mile in, you're like, oh
this is really bad.
So
the dust was
2 riders were in front of Brandon, and literally on Brandon's GoPro, Brandon is like pedaling the throttle.
Yeah.
And it was immediately the first mile, those 3 riders were gapped 30 seconds apart from one another.
Truthfully, it was the worst dust race me personally I have raced.
Yes.
I've raced a lot of dust races, and I'd rather race dust over mud, but that race specifically was one of my worst that I've ever raced. And it was, and obviously I knew that going into lap 1. It was like, man, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, and it sucked ass. Okay, so one of our very good friends got the whole shot, Caden Ward.
Yep.
And looking good.
Yep. He's literally leading the whole race.
The entire race.
Me and Cody were back there. I was battling a little bit with Cody, trying to get around him, and I was like, obviously we're points racing, so as long as I try to finish in front of him was our goal. And I was like, all right. I mean, 3rd's not bad. I'm not unhappy with where I'm at because I know the track conditions. So we were going last lap. I was trying to put a charger on. There was a couple areas where I knew I could catch them, but then the dust got so bad in a couple of other areas that you'd lose them. So I ended up catching them back, and we're all 3 together, like literally like 1, 2, 3 in this one area. And then I remember seeing Caden broke on the side,
Last lap.
Last lap.
He was going to win.
He was going to win it. There's no doubt. I don't think me and Cody could have put a pass on. I couldn't put a pass on Cody. I don't think Cody could have put a pass on Caden. It was just
he was going to win the first race he's ever won, or first 4x4 pro race.
Yep.
And we were all excited for him.
And we were excited. I was happy for him too, and I was happy with where I was at. And so it ended up, he ended up breaking. I was like, oh my God, this isn't good. So then it puts me in second and puts Cody in the lead. So then I was like, all right, well now it's just me and Cody. So I actually could see a little bit better because the dust actually died down, because it wasn't 3 of us battling, it was only 2 of us. There was only 1 other person in front of me instead of 2. And so then I tried a few moves and it just didn't work out. And then unfortunately I caught a lapper there at the end that kind of spread us out, and it was just over at that point.
It was done. And I think we were okay with finishing 1 position behind the guy we're chasing. In this particular conditions that we were dealt with.
So we got off. We got second. Yeah. I mean, it was a good race. There was nothing we did wrong. I mean, there was a few things. There was one thing in particular that we did that we could have done a little bit differently. But part of it. There
again, we learned from that.
And yeah, I mean, we got second. We were happy, and obviously still have points lead. We lost some points.
Yep.
Which is not what we wanted, but it's not like it's the end of the world.
But we're still okay. We're in a position where we feel like we're still in control. He's the one chasing us, and
I mean, there was a point where we figured out. I think it was that race. I could finish second for the rest of the year
and be fine.
And if he wins, we still technically win.
Right.
So we were like in a situation where it was like, we don't have to win.
Right.
We don't have to technically beat him to win. So it was like, if we go out and make sure the bike finishes and finishes second, we should be good.
Right. So then we move on to round 12. This is a John Penton. Now normally there's 2 races, or had been 2 races a year. Seem like, right, or not? Am I thinking right?
Yes, we normally run this one
Normally run 2. This year they decided to run 1, and then also they put it in the fall. Okay, later in the race, or later in the season, which was very good, because it's usually hotter than all hell up there, you know what I mean? And but this race, there was 170 riders showed up. You win the race, you win the overall, you led 2 of the 4 laps, okay? Now, this particular race, our battery may die again. I'm not dumb, because this race has got a lot of going on too. We had a flipping hurricane come through our damn area, okay?
There's a lot happening.
All right, so we ended up changing our airplane tickets to Thursday instead of Friday, because we weren't going to get out on Friday.
Because we didn't think we were going to get out on Friday.
The wind.
And then if we didn't get out on Friday, then that put us
driving. No way.
It would have been tough. It would have been really tough.
So next thing you know, so we leave out here on Thursday and camp out in a really nice lodge up there, the area and everything, and so
had a good time, hung out.
Really had a great time with the Wilsons. We hung out with the Wilsons and Matt Lay and his family, and them, which they all come up from Florida also. We had a great time, great weekend with them, and so there again, that hurricane freaking followed us.
It did. It literally followed us.
It followed us straight up, and this is the hurricane that went in and devastated
North Carolina
Georgia, area and all that. This is
that.
Milton, or I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
We had a couple this year that was pretty bad. And so anyway, and damn if that didn't follow us. Our power ended up going out at the...
In Ohio.
Our power went out in Ohio because of the freaking hurricane. And
it was pretty nuts, because I remember the whole situation.
Yeah, anyway.
But then obviously that produced a bunch of rain.
So Friday, me and Karen literally go to the track 4 times. I get out of the truck, 0. I did not even get out of the vehicle. I had to rent a car. It was a Jeep. Jeep, wasn't it? I think it was a Cherokee or some kind of Jeep. 4x4. And we took Brandon to the track so he could bicycle, but that didn't happen either. And so Brandon hung out with the Gncc crew and Adam Boyd and those kind of guys.
Literally, it rained all day Friday.
And everybody was in campers. It just sucked ass, okay?
So obviously, we're mud prepping now.
Yeah, full mud prep. This will be the 3rd really bad mud race.
We're thinking it's going to be like a freaking... The pit area looks terrible.
Terrible.
I mean, it looks like freaking... One of the worst races I think I've been to. Like, it just looks nasty. Everybody doesn't want to be outside. You can tell. It's so muddy.
We had to go to Walmart and buy damn rain boots and everything else. None of us had rain boots.
We're full mud prep. So we go into the race expecting a really muddy race, and dude, it was completely opposite. I remember going into lap 1, I was like, why do I have hand guards on right now? It was so bizarre.
Yeah, y'all come by the first lap and we're like,
it wasn't even muddy. Yeah.
What the hell?
Track conditions were honestly perfect.
Perfect.
I mean, a little muddy for us, but they were really, really good. So mud prep wasn't a big deal. It wasn't muddy. The track conditions were good. So
get second on the start. You're behind Sawyer, gets the whole
behind
shot.
Cody, and running behind Cody for the first 2 laps.
Yeah.
And,
lap and a half in.
Or a lap and a half in, and
about 20 seconds. He put you made what, 1 or 2 mistakes on the first lap.
I made a couple. Yeah.
You had actually had to hit a tree and had to back up.
I hit a tree, and then I slid past the corner. Just
so he gapped you that 20 seconds the very first lap, and you know.
And I wasn't upset.
It's just part of it.
We all knew that if we finished second, it's okay.
Well, the championship's still ours, right?
We're a lap and a half in, so
right. Lots could happen.
A lot of stuff could happen for sure. So I was happy. I was settled where I was. I was putting on a charge to catch Cody. Started catching side of him. Felt like I was going to be able to catch him. Didn't know where I was going to pass him at specifically, but I was definitely putting on a charge to catch him. And then next thing you know, actually, I see him look down at his right rear, and literally his tire rolls off. His whole tire.
Like come off the bead.
Like the
you're
wheel,
changing the tire.
Yeah, the wheel stays on, but the tire, it looks like the bead may have broken the wheel or something like that. It ended up, the tire rolled off. So I was like, holy cow. I mean, this just happened right in front of me. I see it all happen. And obviously he lets me go. I mean, there's nothing, you're running with 3 tires right now. Yeah. So nothing he could do. He lets me go. Obviously I get the lead, and I was like, he's got to change a tire. I know that's going to take some time. So, and he's got to get back to his pit. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of my race to lose again. Because I've been in a couple of situations like this, and where I got a good lead. I think Caden was about a minute back, and I was happy with where I was at. And so that's kind of what we did. We made sure the bike didn't run hot, make sure we had goggles, pitted for fuel. Cody, I think, ended up having more issues later on. So that I think I don't even think he finished that race, and that was a really big race for us.
That was huge, and
that changed everything.
Yeah.
So we ended up winning that race, and when he did not finish that race, it gave us a 27 point lead.
Yeah. And we didn't know it at that point.
We didn't know it at that point.
Yeah, we were pretty good.
But we knew it was like we just gained a lot, and we only have one more race, so it was like. It was a situation, man, we were happy.
Well, we didn't realize that Collier had not finished, or we didn't figure out, we didn't know where he had finished at, so we were trying to figure that out. And then the results come
we're all excited. I mean, last 2 rounds,
sure.
we know we gained a lot. We don't know how much, but we know we just made a big dent in what.
With 1 race to go.
With 1 race to go. So, and it was a situation where we figured out that we had a 27 point lead, and it was a situation where it was like, I mean, it's
hard to not win this.
It's hard to not win this right now.
So
now,
the way we had
there is a chance that we can.
Oh, there's always a chance.
Now, don't get me wrong, because we only had a 27 point lead.
Yeah.
Technically, a race counts for 30. So if we don't go out there and do a lap, we won't win the championship. And if he finishes and he has to win the race,
he has to win.
So there was a lot going on. There was a lot that had to happen for him to win it. So we were very happy.
It was clearly in our court.
Yep.
But we could still fumble it and get rid of it if we're not careful. Now listen, there was so there again, James DeRisi, they took the bike back and meticulously went over that four-wheeler. We did not want another fuel pump to go bad or with a damn fuse or something like that. In fact, I made a joke. I told all the guys that we're all going to get on e-bikes, and we're going, as soon as y'all take off, we're taking off right behind you, and every one of us is going to e-bike the entire truck. Yeah. It didn't happen that way. But anyway, I remember, what did we have, a 2 or 3 week break?
It was between. No, it was like a 3.
Yeah, it was like damn summer break.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God, it was ridiculous.
There were a couple mid-east races in there.
Yep.
Brandon's like, I'm like, you're not racing, Cracker.
I'm
going to go race. I said, you're not racing, Cracker. Because, Brandon, you wanted to go race 2 of them or something like that. And I'm like, no. So I was babysitting Brandon for him not to get hurt here at home of any kind. Yep. If you would have broke your fingernail, it would have affected everything.
Yep.
So we had a big prize to win, and so needless to say, Brandon was not doing any racing in that
I really
race.
didn't even do no
riding.
riding.
Didn't even do no hardly any riding.
but I wasn't on a full that much.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
because it was that important, because we knew that it could slip out of our fingertips, and so anyway, it worked out pretty good. And here we go. We're going back to a place that you really love, Indiana.
I absolutely love it.
And
obviously everybody's on cloud nine because
we're all excited.
We were informed that Cody wasn't racing.
Yes.
So we were informed that he wasn't even going to race.
He wasn't even going to start the race. So that pretty much handed us the championship.
I mean, we knew we had the #1 plate, which it's a cool feeling to have during the race. There's no doubt, knowing that you have it won. Yeah, so we started off technically second on the whole shot.
Second, yeah, boy, you made a really nice move on going into the woods there.
Yeah.
So Brandon got beside Caden going into the woods there, and
it was a split line, and I knew the left line was slower, but didn't know it was that much slower.
Brandon went left, he went right, and all the other way, and Brandon ended up in fourth in line.
Fourth, yep.
Oh, here we go. So
there was a lot of riders here, and
yeah, a lot of riders. In fact, there was 480 riders.
Yep.
That showed up this race, which is double the amount.
Double the amount.
2/3 the amount of that went to the others.
So so ended up moving back to fourth, and I was like, oh, I mean, it's not what we need, but it's also like, I mean, I'm in no pressure, no panic, so it's like, I'm in fourth, but
still want to win the race, though. We still want to win.
Still really want to win.
We want to win all these things.
So then it was like, okay, well, let's start from fourth. So ended up passing. Oh man, what's his name? Brandon Reed.
Yeah, Brandon Reed.
Looked like
he ended up having an issue.
Yeah,
there.
bike just stopped on him. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Really got close to hitting him. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Out there in the field section, and then put me into third, then passed Hayden in another field section, and there's a I don't know if you can see it from our GoPro video, but actually I watched Caden Moore's video. Ended up trying to square him up in a corner, and ended up catching his rear tire, and it grabbed me, and it got really scary. Yeah. It got scary like in a second, and I was like, if I would have flipped, dude, I would have been hurt, and the bike would have been destroyed. So it was like,
and there goes our lap.
And there goes a lap.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, we didn't have to technically do a lap because Cody didn't start, but
we wanted to go out.
We wanted to finish the race and win the race. So I was like, okay, let me back it down.
Actually, he put out a YouTube video, a really nice video, and with a rear-facing camera.
And you can see it.
And you come up there, and
I grab his rear tire.
Yeah,
it turned so quick. It was so close to.
So at that point, you're like, let's back it down just a little bit.
Let me slow down. Let me get this lap in, and then I was like, and then we could do whatever we need to do, even though we didn't need to finish the lap.
In fact, he got you a little bit.
Yeah, he ended up pulling away, and
because you backed off.
Yep. And he was running a really good race. I mean, he looked smooth out there.
And we're in his hometown.
Yep.
He's wanting to win this race really bad.
So we ended up. Then I was like, all right. After that, I got a little nervous. So then I got my confidence back going, and ended up catching him right there at the end of the lap, and making a pass, which I honestly did not expect to make the pass. To be honest with you, I was just trying another line, and it ended up working out. It wasn't a line where I was like, all right, I'm definitely passing him here. It wasn't like that, and ended up barely passing him, and after that, it was kind of all she wrote to a point. Ended up leading all the laps there, and obviously everybody's cheering me on. We're happy. Everybody's got #1 shirts on, hats on, and Kate ended up catching me there, I think that third lap, and he ended up making a mistake. And after that, I never seen him again. He was back there the whole race. There's no doubt. One mistake for me, and he could have won the race. There's no doubt. But man, I felt good. Very happy with where I was at, and obviously winning the championship that race. I was sick. Don't get me wrong. It was after the race, I was happy, but I was also feeling a little under the weather. So
here we are. The 3-week break. We're like, don't do this, don't do that. And then he comes down with getting sick. We're like, what the hell? So we're like feeding him all kind of antibiotics and all that stuff. Yeah. So his system was like, but he had no energy. Yeah. And your energy level is almost like COVID. It wasn't COVID.
Yeah, it was similar to COVID. It really was. It was.
But weird. Your energy level just sucked ass.
And it's weird. I still have symptoms. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what I have, but yeah. So obviously we get off the racetrack, and
all hell breaks loose.
Oh, dude! Everybody's cheering. Everybody's got the hats, the shirts, the banners. There's all kinds of stuff. There's people talking to me. It was nuts. I was signing so much stuff.
Oh
The whole Gncc crew was there. It was just, there was so many people, many fans.
You threw out a lot of stuff too. We had shirts, we had caps. All those kids went bananas over all that stuff.
There was so much stuff. It was a cool experience. Yeah. I wish I got to enjoy it not being sick, but I remember every bit of it. There's no part I don't remember. It felt good to get off the racetrack, win the race for one, and then also know that I'm the guy to beat next year.
Yeah.
So which is a good feeling. So yeah, we got off that, and man, dude, that was it.
Yeah. And you brought the #1 plate back to Gncc Racing, which James works his butt off, man.
Yeah, James works
he
his butt off
deserves
on my
every bit of
bike,
it.
for sure.
So, and we appreciate everything that those guys do. And I know he was excited.
Oh yeah, James was hyped.
Because this kind of racing, you've got to be good and
how hard
lucky.
it is.
It's so tough, man.
For one, it's me. And then for two, there's a mechanic on the other side of the part of it. So
and an ATV.
And an ATV, and there's a guy that's doing it, and James is like the guy that does it for me. And obviously, it's a win for him. There's no doubt. It's a championship for him too.
Sure. I don't know how many hours he's got done for it, but a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Brandon, that pretty much wraps it up. Though you're the #1 guy this season, and been a good year, and very, very excited for 2025.
Yep.
And it's gonna be different. Because they're chasing you.
Yeah, it's a little bit different feeling, no doubt.
It's a different feeling, but we're not letting up. We just our desire and the burn is even deeper. I think our entire team is like. Yeah,
I feel like we're more prepared. We know what we're
definitely
doing.
More prepared. That quad will be done in a couple of weeks. You'll be ready to roll.
Yeah.
No more waiting until the last week to get bikes done. And
I'm excited to see what the bike looks like. It's gonna be pretty cool.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm really excited to put #1 plate on it. I really am. So
yeah,
it's gonna be cool. The bike's being built as we speak. It's literally, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It has a motor in it. It's getting there. So
still waiting on a few parts and pieces here and there, but that's holding us up a little bit. But for the most part, we've got everything that we need, and your program's going to pretty much stay the same.
Yep.
Going to be on the a brand new Renegade, but the Gen 2 Renegade. You're not going to the Gen 3.
Nope.
I've had people ask me that.
We're not going to the new bike just yet. I don't know if really anybody is. I know Robert obviously probably is.
I think Robert's building one.
I don't know of anybody talking about it just because it's so new.
But it's going to be a good platform.
Yeah,
though.
not that we're afraid to try something new, but it's also the fact of there's a lot of stuff to learn.
Yes.
It's not even the fact of like not being able to trust the bike. It's more the fact of like learning suspension, learning different.
Because the entire quad is totally revamped.
Which is a lot. So maybe, I don't know, maybe next season or the following season.
I think what we'll probably end up doing is we'll grab one.
At some point we'll get one and we got to test
with it.
And start messing with it, start figuring out. And at some point, I think that's what everybody will be on because it's new. That's the only bike you can get new now. So at some point we'll be there.
Right. And then we hear some scuttlebutt about some other OEMs coming in too. So, if we're going to learn something, maybe. Who knows? So it's very, very interesting and good times in ATV racing, and I'm hoping that things continue. The numbers, as you saw, was very very good, and the economy, that kind of stuff. Even with inflation beating us all up right now, I think 2025 is going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better. So we're very, very excited for that, and. But Brandon, we've been talking a long time. I'm probably going to bust this up in two. I'm waiting on that GoPro there to die.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that helped us get to where we were today, or where we're at today. All in the 2024 season, there was a lot of people that supported us throughout the season. Just to name a few guys. We got J Parts. They do all my steering components. We got Checker Racing, obviously front bumper, rear intrusion bar, which is pretty much the rear bumper for a Can-Am Renegade. We got Checo brackets on it as well. Flex bars, the whole Gncc Racing crew. We've done a lot of testing, a lot of work. Them guys have put a lot of effort into my stuff, which I'm very happy for. GBC tires, Texair arms, Quad-Tech seat covers, all the guys that make the bike perform. Lead graphics, making the bike look good. I think the bike is always looking good.
And they always give you anything that you needed.
Yeah,
in fact, Matt was calling you, hey, y'all need anything? Y'all need, we're like, no, good, we're good, man.
Always supporting.
Always good people.
Man, dude, there's all the little guys too, all the big guys that help us, not even including the bike. We got the Voight family that really helped me out, support me a lot. The guys do a lot for me, and they put me to where I'm at right now and what situation I'm in. And the Hancock family as well, they've done the same thing and put me in situations where they got me to this point, and now I got to keep going with it. So the Lay family, the Wilson family, the Berg family, all them guys, man, there's a lot of families that help and support me. That's not even parts on the full. Those are just people that just genuinely want to help me. So got to thank all of them, and obviously
you got Bob and Shannon Parks.
Bob and Shannon Parks, got them as well.
They don't even go to the races.
Don't even go to the races. They just they support me probably more than anybody else that supports me at the racetrack. So got to appreciate them. And oh yeah, my mom, my dad, obviously my brother at home as well. So everybody that makes it happen. There's a lot of work that's involved here. It's not easy. We try to show some of the program that we got going on. But it's a lot to capture it all, because it's a lot.
It is. I mean, I was staring at the HMF exhaust. Those guys has been nothing but great to us, and the quad sounds exceptionally great. You know what I mean?
There's just so many little things we've learned over the years, and so many people that we've grown connections with, and we know what works. So it's like we're really not going to change much for next season. Everything's really similar. We're very happy with where the bike's at, where the bike's handling. So we're very confident going into next season. Because it feels like we're not testing anything anymore. We're more like
we're just fine tuning.
We know where we're at. So we're excited. The bike, I'm really excited to get the bike done and test it, and then have it sit in the corner and wait until round one. I'm excited for that, just to have it just sit there ready to go. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes on with everything I got going on. Obviously, I do nutrition. I do all my own nutrition, all my own training. Being a type 1 diabetic makes it a little bit more difficult, so nutrition is really important for me. So all that stuff goes on. I know you don't see that part of it, but that's all the behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, not just the Fuller, not just me showing up at the racetrack and racing a Fuller. There's a lot of stuff that goes on throughout the week that relays to how I end up and how I perform. So
a lot of moving parts to a race team of this juncture, and to run at this level. For this pro level stuff is something unreal that I remember back when we were racing, you know, even 5 years ago, we can do that. No, it's a little different.
It's a whole different situation.
It's a
when you
whole
get there,
level.
you really understand it. It's a lot of, it's hard for people to sit back and look at it. That's why we try to give you some insight through the GoPro, through the YouTube videos, to give you insight of kind of what goes on. I mean, you can get a gist of it, but it really doesn't put it in perspective unless you're really doing it. So, but yeah,
we've had fun
and had a great time.
This year has been one of the best years. I think you and Collier have had some of the best races. Along with Caden Wharf.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of guys out there in the
great racing. So this coming up season, gonna be no different. Gonna be some heavy hitters, and we're ready to rock out. So, Brandon, I enjoyed this. It's almost like podcast style. Maybe. Good time. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm not sure about the air conditioning in the background, that kind of stuff, but with the camera turning off that one time, so I don't know. We'll wait and see how it turns out.
It was cool.
I apologize for the freaking last video we put out, that I put out. It was in the wrong format, the Indiana video. But anyway, I reached out to a couple people and found out what the hell I did. But anyway, hey, I'm no pro. Okay. So we'll try to get it. But all right, Brandon, had a good time, and love you, brother, and we'll see you next time. We got to get some work done, and maybe do some shop videos for these
probably
guys.
A couple more shop videos. Obviously, I'm sure y'all guys want to see the new build. Obviously, we're building it, so and then I'm pretty sure the Gncc crew is going to be taking care of it this year for us again. James Reeves and the guys got it figured out, and we're really happy with the program. So, but yeah, we're doing the build, and they're going to get it and fine tune it up there and get it ready for us for round one.
All right. So, all right, we'll catch you guys. Probably do a shop video later on this week. See y'all.